guys. Welcome to the comfort zone. So the book I'm going to be talking about with you guys today is Stephen King's novella, Elevation. Super reflective. I am sorry. Aha, there we go. So this is one of his most recent releases. It was out October of last year, I do believe is when it was released. And this book, of course, is set in Castle Rock, Maine. And if you're a Stephen King fan at all, you'll kind of understand why that's relevant. But if you're not, Castle Rock is one of Stephen King's most popular paranormal locations, I guess you could say. A lot of his stories take place in Castle Rock, like It, The Dead Zone, Dr. Sleep. So Castle Rock is a pretty popular place in the sci-fi paranormal world. So the main character in this story is Scott Carey. He is a recently divorced web designer who, again, lives in Castle Rock. So the main point of this story is that Scott has become a medical mystery, I guess is the best way to put it. He's not necessarily sick, but he is recognizing that something's wrong, something's going on, and he can feel it, he's seeing it, but he's not 100% sure what it is. So he confides in one of his friends, Dr. Bob Ellis. I couldn't think of his name for a second. Dr. Ellis is a retired doctor, but Scott doesn't necessarily want to go see a real doctor just because he's not 100% sure that he has something wrong. He's just got this gut feeling that something's wrong. So throughout the entirety of the story, Scott and Dr. Ellis are trying to figure out what exactly is going on with him while he's still living like his every day-to-day life. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail about exactly what Scott is experiencing because I feel like in doing that would give away a lot of the book. But there's definitely something weird going on. Obviously, it's Castle Rock. Like, only weird things happen in Castle Rock. So there's no surprise that what's going on with Scott is a little bit abnormal. As Scott is trying to live his everyday life, he develops a sort of a kinship with Deirdre and Missy. Deirdre and Missy are a lesbian couple that recently moved to Castle Rock. Now, in Castle Rock, a lesbian relationship isn't necessarily something that is accepted. Because it's not very accepted, Deirdre and Missy are kind of hesitant of Scott at first, but as the story progresses, they become more connected. They start bonding, and Scott eventually, again, confides in them with what's going on with his kind of medical mystery. So as the book goes on, it becomes Scott, Deirdre, Missy, and Dr. Ellis who kind of all come together, and they've created this kind of out of the norm friend group. It's an elderly doctor, a lesbian couple, and the divorced web designer who all come together. They have this friendship, and they all have the same goal, trying to figure out what is going on with Scott. And as they're trying to figure out what's going on with him, everybody starts to realize that unfortunately Scott is probably not going to live through this condition that he has developed. So this book kind of becomes about how he decides to live in his last days and how he decides to spend his last moments, and really focusing on the adaptations that he has to make in order to live with the condition that he has up until it's his time. And though it's a really short read, it's a novella, so it's not a long story. It's like It's 146 pages, so it was a super fast read. Again, no shock, it's a book that I sat down and read in like an hour. It was really, really good. And for being such a short story, it kind of touched base on a lot of different real life aspects, like the trials and tribulations that Deirdre and Missy have to go through being in a lesbian relationship in a community that is not accepting of that sort of lifestyle, and of Scott, who is kind of strange within himself, as well as the camaraderie that is built between a group of very different people who come together and have these same goals. I mean, it's a little bit sad. Like, towards the end, I found myself getting a little emotional. I didn't cry, but I did feel it. It hit me in the feels a little bit towards the end, just because, I mean, it's Stephen King. It is so well written. He wrote it to spark a little bit of emotion within you. It makes you want to keep your friends and family close and just try to live your life to the fullest. I know that sounds super cheesy, but that's one of the messages that I got from this, is just to live your life to the fullest, because you never know what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. So just keep living. I feel pretty confident that just about anybody could read this book and enjoy it. Like I said, it's Stephen King. It's very well written. It's got a really good message. It kind of sparks your interest a little bit, piques your imagination, because what's going on with him you wouldn't expect. I mean, it's Stephen King, it's Castle Rock. Something weird is gonna happen, and that's exactly what it is. Some really weird stuff is happening, and it's nothing like you would have expected. Like, as I was reading this, I was trying to figure out what it could possibly be that's going on with Scott, and I would have never guessed that what is going on with him is what is going on, if that makes sense. I don't want to go too much into it. It's just something that you're gonna have to pick up and you're gonna have to read and figure out by yourself. But that is it, guys. I know this was a really short video, but like I said, it's one of those that you just need to pick up and read by yourself. And it's short. Like, there's not much. I wouldn't be able to talk too much about it without giving away the whole story. So definitely pick it up, check it out, read it. It's well worth it. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you really like this video, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss a post. And be sure to check out last week's video. It was a hard one to talk about. It was a hard one to read, but definitely worth reading and watching the video. So don't be afraid to check that out. And I'll see you guys next time here at The Comfort Zone. Bye.